Joe. This is. Sun's out again. Yeah, you get that one in pretty soon. I was in Dallas.
Is that on your screen?
I'm not sure if this meets me up here.
Well, I want to plug the thing in.
Hardwood material is a composite that combines the best of vinyl and wood.
Well, fireworks is low maintenance on vinyl, but stronger than vinyl. And it's beautiful like wood, but doesn't require the upkeep.
Do you want to make your home more comfortable?
Just like
Before January 31st, save 20% on windows and save 20% on
It's a
doors.
special part.
Plus, save an extra
It's one of
$150
these.
on your entire project with no money down, no monthly payments, and no income.
See
1
here.
year. Oh, is
I wonder if I have to click
for a
on
free
my,
appointment with Renewal by Anderson. Call
Well,
1-800-704.
audio.
Is 101 years old this year and counting.
No, are we on mute?
Lockwood, current
I think
caretaker.
we are.
When COVID hit, we had some challenges, like a lot of businesses did. I heard about the payroll tax refund
Oh, I know.
allowed us to keep the amount of people that we needed and the people that have been here taking care of us.
If your business, you qualify. Go get
See
refund.
here.
Sorry, don't say.
Which comes with wisdom.
Warren
And
muted.
wisdom
Let's see.
comes with benefits.
You're gonna want that off.
Why everybody's,
Now for Medicare outside the annual enrollment period. Example
See
is
here.
moving, hiring, and more.
I go in the night.
So make a wise call to see if you're eligible for a Cigna Medicare Advantage plan today at 1-855-683-7207.
Absolutely.
Cigna Medicare Advantage plans offer $0 primary and
I don't know how you
specialist
connect to the
doctors,
audio,
savings
though.
on Part B premium, and dental coverage with dentist of your choice. Plus hearing, vision, and an over-the-counter allowance all in one plan.
see here.
1-855-683-7207. That number again is 1-855-683-7207. See if you're eligible today.
Don't just sleep.
There's video. Let's see. Oh, I don't want, no, I don't want.
What are you doing?
That's just somebody else that's listening. It must not be.
I don't want to.
No, because you're this guy right here. She just turned hers on.
Turn off the visual.
Never had it on.
Well, you had to, we saw some pics.
Oh, the visual is for us, that's off. The camera is off.
What's that little one in the corner?
This is supposed to show us, and that's supposed to show what we're looking at.
But the camera's off.
Well, yeah, because that's not me. Can anyone out there hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can. Then who am I talking to?
If they talk to your doctor, we'll focus is about shingles prevention.
Meet Mid Styles. They stick and re-stick.
I wonder if you should log out, log in again.
So when it says mute on the top, that means I can mute it or I'm muted.
You're muted.
Okay.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. We should be muted. Oh, there's one.
Right now, there's 22 people looking in.
Are we muted?
I'm not sure, but I'm seeing all the people coming in right here.
Let's see, we can hear you if you want to know if you're muted.
Don't look at the images on my computer. That's it.
Well, I'm thinking they're just getting organized.
Yeah, it must be Mark, because it says I see you're on Zoom call. It says I heard you.
Mary said if you get on, she's gonna tell Richie to wave to you.
Lisa.
Dennis.
Yeah, it was us. Oops. It's pretty scary. It's 2 minutes to 30. Is that wine?
No.
They didn't have that cough syrup, honey. No, all the cough syrup was sold out. The only one they had of that brand was Children's. Stuff is bare for cough syrup. What should those pills cost? What do those pills cost? Oh, okay, you never got them before.
Well, I did, yeah. What did you pay for?
Like $14.
No, that's about right. That's for 3 months.
Oh, okay.
I think it used to be. Some of them are 20 for 3 months.
Oh, okay, so that's what I'm thinking, they're less.
I think they must have gone down in price. Because I think there were more.
I'm not sure why it isn't starting at 3 o'clock.
I'm just gonna.
Not yet, but it's ready to.
Go to sky.com today.
No. See different. This guy's on with his iPhone.
Who is it? Oh.
I have no idea. He does. He must.
Oh, we're just trying to say.
They're all logging on without.
Yeah. I had my shirt off. I think they can see. Well, I see other people.
I am on audio, not video.
I know. Why do they have to be on? Take off the video.
I-
I'm telling them, not you.
Let's do this.
Just, can you just click on the one?
Recording in progress.
You click on it.
There's loads and loads of people on Zoom. Well, I think we have tape over our camera, don't we? Can you just get that picture up there?
I'm trying and it won't do it. I need somebody to be talking over here. See down at the bottom?
He
comes walking in with sins.
Yeah. If I click on that, then we would be on there.
It's a meeting. You just got that first off.
Thank you, dear.
What are you talking about? Is it still?
Nothing. They haven't started yet.
Oh.
These are all the people that have signed in on Zoom. They sweat it up. Yeah, it might not have. Barry's not going for it. But,
It's whoever talks.
you're so fucking
of those that says something comes on.
Have voice off. Leave your phone on and take the voice off on the laptop. Because the voice on the laptop's not that good.
No, not the voice. Take the video off.
Take
Put your thumb over it.
how do you take the voice off?
I have some here. I showed them some. They don't know how to run it. Everybody's supposedly an expert on Zoom. It's pretty simple.
Each individual can mute by pushing the mute button in the lower left-hand corner unless they're speaking.
Yeah, I could talk. See, I shut my voice off because I don't want to talk. I should think about see my face.
And now he's going to be leaving, and we'll see what the new chief of staff has as his particular strengths. But remember, the chief of staff is merely an expression of the president, and the new chief of staff is not going to mean that we're not going to have more mistakes by the president, not going to do more exaggeration, that he's not going to be confused in public, etc. And we'll see what kind of a change it brings in the operation.
Problem.
Doesn't change the president.
I don't know why we can't get one main one like we do with,
I don't know either.
maybe they have to do it. Oh, they're up there, honey.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. The different.
Got a construction, a mortgage loan here as well. He got out of the business. He actually got hired by DIF to run their.
All that background working.
What is all that background talking?
People got their phones on. They should.
You got yours on too.
Yeah, I just turned my mute off. You might want to mute your microphone so you don't, we don't hear everything you're talking about and everything in the background.
Your video too.
Who is that guy?
I have no idea.
That guy
But it's
was
entertaining.
That guy was David Lindstrom.
He's the guy making the presentation, I think.
Yeah, they're supposed to, and I see, I saw an iPhone that had a picture at the church. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, what happened to the church?
Please ask people to mute. Again.
Can they hear us?
No.
Ours isn't muted. Mute the video too.
You were right on Donna's birthday.
Well, something's not working right.
I think we'll just throw this in.
Oh, yeah.
You have video on, don't you?
I don't. It'd be here.
Well, it's
What?
that Zoom with me. Okay.
What's that top one? Start soon when I.
That's different.
I don't think we're gonna get anything.
Maybe some participants.
Well. That's Allison. That's her phone.
Too far. Went too far. Some people have it. Maybe she's on that dog is barking. I don't want to laugh because it was in. Well, it's 10 minutes in, but.
In the waiting room.
Allison's screen, where would that be?
The logo.
Well, this isn't gonna work. I can't get it, yeah.
Why don't you try signing on and try sending in and just see if that does anything? I tried it here because iPhone. Well, to get it on.
Anyway, the bedroom is great. I want to talk about the bathroom. Okay. So this is like a baby holding area. Down before here's the bathroom. It feels a little bit like a restaurant. Yeah, I want to resort. Yeah. Recording. There's a huge shower. What is there?
Well, John's giving the introduction already. Here he is.
Yes.
Here it goes, Karen.
There it goes, Karen.
Yes. What's the big F in it?
Frank Casito. Daryl Murray. Bill Connors.
Hello. Can you, no, he's on the iPad.
Everybody should have their computer on mute, including you, Tom. I can hear you, buddy. And the people with dogs barking would help us a lot if you went on mute. Bottom left corner of your screen.
We can't find it. Okay, can you see the thing?
Mhm.
You can hear what they're doing.
That's me.
Grass that's more playable than paspalum on greens, while still keeping the paspalum Bermuda on the rest of the course, where it is hardy, It is brackish water resistant. It stays green. Tom's done a great job doing that. So the thought process developed that maybe we should replace all of the golf course with Paspalum Bermuda, except build new greens complexes that are more worthy of a course of the quality of Forest Glen. This golf course is the centerpiece of our community. It is the thing of which we are justly proud. So when we consider, do you put Paspalum back on the greens or you do it right? Do you do new greens complexes, which are more involved and they're more expensive, but you come out of it with a seriously high quality product? Is Paspalum on greens and so forth, is it adequate? It may be adequate, but good enough isn't good enough for our golf course. So it has been the recommendation of the committee, passed along to the board, which they've dealt with and massaged carefully from not only a design standpoint, but a financial standpoint, to recommend changing the greens complexes and putting in Tiff Eagle grass on the greens, on larger greens, sculpted a little bit more realistically, a lot more realistically, and come out of it with a really tip-top finishing off of a jewel of a golf course. Now, it will cost more, and that is something that the board has addressed, and Tom will talk about shortly. It was the sense of the committee, and I think it is the sense of the board, that it's going to be worth it, that we're going to come out the other end in much better shape. We interviewed several architects, and they all said the same things about our problems of playability and design and green irregularities and what have you. But we finally identified a really tip-top architect. His name is Ron Force. Ron has redesigned over 100 golf courses. He has done numerous local restorations. I think he's got like 30 years of experience. Pelican Bay, am I right? Do I have the right Pelican? Is the one that he did not too long ago. It was an Arthur Hills course, and he came in and fixed it. And we talked to Ron at great length, and we finally determined that he's our guy. This guy really knows his stuff. So we asked him to come up with a master plan that includes things like taking out the hell bunker on 18 and moving a few other things around. Those are some of the fixes that we would probably make in any event. But he's recommended those things, a few other fixes that we can do along the way, and designed better greens complexes. So we're really pleased and proud to have Ron working with us. This is a guy, as I say, who knows what he's doing. And so, without further ado, here's Ronnie.
Mr. Sailing asked my permission if he could do that introduction, so that's okay. That was my boyhood name in Jersey, so it's fine. This is really kind of encouraging to see how many people are here. You folks are taking a really keen interest in your club. There's a lot of country clubs where people are not as interested. Now, it either means you're extremely suspicious or you folks really care. So I'm really hoping it's the latter, and so, but Force Design was established in 1989 in Western Pennsylvania. It consists of myself and my partner, Jim Nagel. I live in New Smyrna Beach, Florida now. He's remained up there in Hopwood, PA, south of Pittsburgh. And we have worked all across the country and in Canada a bit as well. And we have enjoyed great working relationships over the years. Both our backgrounds are in landscape architecture from West Virginia University. The scope of our work has been from very small projects to very large projects of rebuilding the entire golf course at one time. We really like the Florida work. Gives us a chance to do some interesting things, and I really like living in Florida too, and that's very nice. Around here, in addition to Club Pelican Bay, we consult. We rebuilt the Hole-in-One Golf Club. We're consulting at Pelican Marsh. We rebuilt in Fort Myers the Cypress Lake Golf Club up there. And so we've been around a bit and really enjoy that. So we have some of the accolades for Force Design. Twice we've received the award for the Renovation of the Year. The first one was Bedford Springs in Pennsylvania. It's an Omni Hotel. That was in 2009. Then when we restored the Donald Ross Country Club of Buffalo in New York, 2014, that got the Renovation of the Year Best in Show International or something. Sounds like a dog show, Westminster Kennel or something. But anyway, we'll take it. And and just recently, if you look at Golf Digest rankings, Davenport Country Club that we restored and rebuilt, we did both, in Davenport, Iowa, jumped into Golf Digest top 100 at number 95. It debuted at that number. So we're really pleased with that. We're really happy to bring our experience to you folks. The principles under which we work are, when we work on a master plan, number one is safety. That has to be the first thing. Number two, create the greatest player enjoyment, the greatest experience for the golfer that course is capable of engendering, pulling out of that golf course, improving it. The third is maintenance costs must be kept reasonable. And after that is design. We keep our feet on the ground. We are very practical, but very artistic at the same time. So you can roll all those into one. Now, a good golf course consists of three elements, whether it's Shinnecock Hills or a nice little par 3 course or whatever. There's three things that make a good golf course. Number one, they are strategic in nature. Like playing billiards, you line up your next shot, and the best golf courses make you think your way around, and they provide playable options for every level of golfer. A birdie is tough, a par is reasonable, and anybody can bogey a golf hole. So strategic golf is the most interesting and rewarding. Secondly, great variety. You do not want monotony on a golf course. You don't want all your par 3s with the same club when you tee off. You don't want your golf holes in the same direction. You want your green complexes, each one to be different. And the last thing is naturalness. Everything should look like it's always been there and it belongs there. So strategy, variety, and a very natural golf course. That will give you a really good golf course. We seek to find the best in each golf course at which we work, and then get those elements either enhanced or put them into the golf course, and make sure that golf course is the best it can be. You want an interesting golf course that's playable. That's what you really want. You can make an interesting golf course that's unplayable, and some people might not think that's interesting. So I'll be calling on some people to switch some slides, I think. One time, anyway, I was going to say a joke about a phone, but I won't. But well, I will. We were in Heinz Hall in Pittsburgh, and Pepe Romero, the great classical guitarist, was playing guitar, and he started, and this phone went off down on the floor, and he stopped and told people to turn their phones off. So another phone went off, and it was a lady right next to me, and I was slinking into my chair, hoping nobody would think that was me. But anyway, so what we've got here, we have gotten input by the survey, and we have included that in our thinking. We're consulting for you. We're not just going rote or dictated by what you folks have said, but we have seriously considered everything that was sent back to Tim regarding your golf course, what you like and what you don't like. Mr. Sailing has already given a lot of comments. For any further comments about your existing course are, number one, your tees are in pretty good positions, but we're including more Glen tees, either additional or shifting them to another side of the fairway, things like that. But overall, your tee location has been pretty good. The other things that he said really apply. The routing is very interesting, really dictated by the cypress heads out there and the cypress stands that are there. And it's a very unique routing with a little short holes there, about 2/3, clustered together in the middle, in the 2/3 through the round of golf, which is a very unique feature. But what we've done is taken those principles, the 4 priorities and those 3 elements of a good golf course, and we looked at, like we said, what can this golf course be, and we're building up what you've got. It is not a total recreation by any means. We've got 6 holes that we want to go over, 2 from the front, 4 from the back 9. And I'm going to go through these now and be brief and concise, and you'll get a feel for what the other golf holes will be based on what we're talking about here. So first of all, on hole 6, we want to create establishing coquina, golf balls getting lost in the grass just over the lake. The tees would be rebuilt, even though here they just show them as just an outline. It's a taken for granted thing that they will be. The Glen tee will be moved from the right to the left here. And instead of the cart path crossing down here by Barry's house, we're going to get it back in here. And because members are tired of Barry throwing tomatoes at them and stuff like that, I think, but screaming at them. But anyway, the area here that looks like kind of a big fat worm, that's a very gently raised grade there to hide the cart path. Very gentle, subtle, all fairway cut. So the area that everybody loves in this golf course, especially the ladies, the big trough, that will be removed. The cart path, as you said, taken back in here, this whole area. We wanted to create something that enables people to get through the area. They can play golf ball straight through without having to encounter that. But we also wanted, the committee and myself really wanted to have some kind of hazard in that area. Mounding is a really good hazard on golf courses, especially in flat ground like Florida. And so that's a series of mounds with fairway running between them. The further left you play down the golf hole, the better the angle is through it. And then this coquina area with the path joining into that. Now you see this close up here. Each hole has a close up. What we've got is kind of a mounded a ridge approach with swales on both sides. But the green, this is a high area on the green. This is a swale running through the green with a cupping area in front and another higher area. And what we're talking about is areas only 6 inches to 12 inches above the low area of the green. We're not talking about massive contour, but it really rewards a good approach shot into this golf hole. And by segmenting a green, it makes it a little harder if you're way back here for your third shot to get in. It's balanced shot values and strategy. So here's more of the close-up. That's the existing bunker there. That is the existing racetrack shaped green. And we're going back a little bit with the center of the green. And you've got all this real estate on the right. We want to use that. We'd like to get it out, get it there, also get that green out over in there where you have more room to spread it out sideways. Just use the ground. Bunker on the left, bunker on the right on the corner, and a really interesting approach to the green and the green itself. One of the things Forest Design is known for, and one of the things I love doing, is creating very playable and very interesting putting surfaces. That's one thing that really stood out to people when we rebuilt the Club Pelican Bay. The project started 4 years ago. I think that covers number 6 right there. Can we go to the next one? Hole number 7, the little short par 3. We want to take the cart path out of the left side, get it in on the right, run it through the coquina. It's a quick jump from the trail from 6, get it all the way around the right. And you'll notice here, let's make sure we got the right line. That is the right edge of the green as it is now. And then this is the center of the green, which would be on the present left edge of the putting surface. We want to get that green out into the sunlight, get it away from all the cypress, get it into where the airflow is better, in addition to get it out of the shade. At the tees, they have to be realigned, and we'd like to expand them a little bit where we can. They're aiming way too far to the right. They need to be aimed left, especially as the green is shifted a little bit to the left. We want to get this traffic pattern out of here, some coquina across to reduce the amount of turf grass that you're maintaining and paying for. And the green itself is a subtly 3-tiered green. And that doesn't work when you approach shots 200 yards, but it works well on this hole. It rewards good shot making. It rewards people that can get a good iron shot in there. Then we're talking about subtle grade changes between levels. So there's one right over the right front bunker, down there, a nice southern little spot, a middle area here, a bit of a fall off, fairway out and back, and then a back level at the rear, which is the largest target, longest shot into it. So you can see, it's labeled here low, middle, and high. Again, don't get scared by these plateau effects. We're talking subtle grades. We really love subtle grades in greens. And then there should be some really interesting heaving contours once in a while. But subtle greens make two putting very reasonable for any golfer. But they're really hard to read your birdie putt for the single digit handicapper, because it's when you really work on the contours. You don't just make dead flat greens, but you make these very playable greens that have interesting subtle contours in them and variety in them. They become a birdie is well earned. Then the one putt is well earned. I hope the emphasis we're giving this about playability and interest is coming through. We're not talking anything radical. We're not talking anything boring either. Next slide, please. So jumping over to everyone's favorite sight line coming into the driveway, through the gate, number 13. Obviously, the major problem is this time of year when it dries out, you've got so much exposed unsightly ground there. So something's got to be done with that. Besides, we talked about a number of things. Do we allow the water? Do we allow that gradual slope? Try to find some surface material for that that's attractive? No, not really. The only thing to do is build a wall here. And so that is the existing edge of the lake bank right in here. What we want to do is move further into the lake and build a 5-foot high cap rock native stone wall there, that it will work with the rising and the falling of the water level. Yes. So there it is. It'll be a little higher. It'll be higher than that. Maybe another course of stone higher than that. But that's what it looks like. It's very attractive. We build a bunch of them at Club Pelican Bay. They work really well. It's a good permanent solution. There's nothing totally permanent on a golf course, of course. Can we jump back to the previous one? Oh, okay. Well, that's what you got now. Yeah. So you can see trying to get material on that slope and keep that slope. That's a lot of material. That's a waste of money, really. And I don't know what we would do with it anyway. So can we jump backwards to the plan view? Thank you. And that would go all the way from the second tee from the front all the way down to the end where those little pools of water are. The existing pools are there, and the trail of water, the little waterfall down into the lake. So what happens as the lake bank, the edge of the lake shifts towards the gatehouse a little bit, so does the fairway. So this is the existing fairway. That's proposed right edge of the fairway. And this light green is new fairway. Tees are in great spots. That bunker is not in a great spot, we hear. And so what we're doing is taking that and moving it down into here. That's 200 yards from the back tee. So for some people, this is a drivable par 4, and we want to build on that type of golf hole and create the best we can and make something more playable, but challenging. So that's like 175 to get into that from the back tee. And this here, that's about 225 from the back tee, and it pinches a little bit. Actually, the fairway's where it is now, but we're taking these bunkers out that are short right of the green, and we'll see close up in just a second. So you've got this landing area at about 200 where you got to negotiate. You have a straighter line towards the green. There's a little more play down the left side. It entices people to maybe play the corner, play along the edge a little bit more, which I like. I like this angle better than it is now. Gives you a little bit, you can see by that line here, if you go to the existing fairway, it puts you way out over here. I like the fact that it entices you to go more directly to the green. For those that are laying up in here, they have a wedge shot into a double tiered green. High here, low in the front. The edge of the green now is, I feel it's a little too close to the pools of water there. That's the right edge there. I want to move it back a little, create a little bit of a level area in short grass below the front edge of the green, so balls just off the edge of the green aren't all in the water. And it also entices line. I know we're not talking to the majority golfer here, but I like the idea of enticing longer hitters by this a little bit more open area to try to run it up into here. I think it's a much more interesting hole. In the slope behind the green, we want to place 2 bunkers there. I think it's a good opportunity to create a lot of interest there as well. I love this upper right cupping area, tucked in behind the front right bunker. If you strategically, if you're going to play to that, you really want to take on the lake edge a little bit more. And then that shot into that spot, that's a really interesting spot. There's a lot of good interest in the green. So anyway, let's go on to 14, right there in the middle of the course, the short holes, the short par 4s. Thank you. So again, the tees are in decent spots, well lined up, sized well, but we need another Glen tee there. That's 200 yards, just short of from the back tee, that is, just short of the existing fairway. That's a 250-yard mark, which right now goes into the water. We're showing a much needed runway fairway up the right side, filling in a lot of that little lake area there, and provide a way to play the golf hole, but really challenge this. Is still that same scary looking wedge shot over the water. The green sits against the water now, and we're proposing again a capstone wall all the way around, looping all the way around back to the edge of the fairway, the far left edge of the fairway. So the existing green is in here now. We'd like to put a bunker here, basically a ball containing bunker and an aesthetic bunker, which we like seeing these bunkers and that bunker when you exit just before you get through the gate, just before as you're getting to the gate and leaving. So I think that's a real good aesthetic improvement to the golf hole. Irregularly shaped green, not a lot of fancy doodads on it, but the same fairway, bailout fairway out to the right-hand side. This bunker also keeps golf balls from scooting up onto the 15th tee. So we're also hiding a little bit of the cart. We're hiding the cart path a little bit there with a little grade change in there. Let's go to the next one. Number 16, I feel, needs a level of playability put into a very difficult golf hole. Not only is it a very hard tee shot, but then you've got a lot of bunkers in the way for shorter hitters. We want to retain that aspect. I'll talk about that more in a second. But basically what's happening is the hole broadens to the left-hand side for the golfer. And this light green is new fairway as opposed to where your edge of the rough is now. A large bunker placed out there. It's really more of an aiming bunker. It's not really in play. The cart path moves from here way out over there through the trees. And it'd be a much more attractive, large scale, bigger fairway kind of a golf hole. You need a little more playability, a little more margin of error on a hole that is this tough. Shots that end in not the ideal landing area will have to negotiate this bunker coming over the top. And that's a good feature. And that's something that's been done in golf architecture forever. Bunkering short of a green on a par 4, it actually rewards a good tee shot because you can get past it. But we wanted to keep that aspect, but make it more playable. There's a lot more fairway to the right of that proposed bunker, a mound behind the cart path. And at the green, we have a ball containing and a very attractive bunker down the right side. The bulkheads, as was said, the wooden bulkheads are all coming out on the golf course. They'll all be gone. We'll handle all of them in a more attractive and a better way. And they won't fall down in the future either. So a bunker just above the lake, protecting that area and protecting that area. The green, the existing green is here. The green enlarges front left and to the left side and a little bit to the rear. Some undulation and mounding back left, center, kind of center right there. And the approach to the green is a little higher here and a little lower here. You can scoot the ball up in here, roll it up into this area. You can run the ball up into this area, negotiate a little bit of contour. We really like to use grade changes and things that create interest without creating maintenance problems and keep it very playable. The bunker stretches from the green to keep a pulled shot from flying off over the cart path, in addition to being wider and more attractive when seen from the fairway. Could we get the next one, please? All right, number 18, we're going to keep that way back tee over the lake, a very small tee there, and eliminate the rest of that big object that's out there with a big wall. But just keep a very small tee for those that want to play back there. These other tees are doing pretty well. We need a couple of more tees, though, well forward of that. You can see how much yardage you've got between the back and the proposed Glen tee. Expand the fairway. Expand the coquina, take away the ball, the lost ball factor that's in there, and play further down the right side. Take away some of the coquina there, remove that existing Glen tee there, and then take these two bunkers, push them further left, make them larger, let the fairway play through the golf hole to the lake, all the way through. Replicate some of the effect, but larger effect with some fairway bunkers. This would be cut into a natural knoll that's already out there. Some fill is going to be required for the backside of this bunker out here. Some of the undulation in the fairway, that would be great to keep. It's interesting. The landing area stays the same. And this is an extremely difficult finishing hole. It has to be frustrating. I don't know the scorecards over the years, but it's got to be frustrating. With the green right up against the lake, you miss it to the right, and then your ball's in the lake, it seems, by the way it's pitched. So what we want to do is, well, let's go to the bailout. Let's go to this wall first. This is the existing edge of the lake right here. And we want to build another coquina wall, and that's going to require 5 to 8 feet of height for that coquina wall. Uniform treatment of your lake banks by the greens with the rock, with the capstone. So that's the existing edge now. We want to fill this area in, reinforce it with the wall, create an upslope here. So there's a bailout area that where the ball can be contained in here and then play into the green. The green is larger. The green is a lot more square, not quite as long. And it just has a center knoll. And this is just kind of an undulation in the center of the green. That rewards. If the pin is here on the left side, you want to be up that left side rather than negotiating that knoll. But you can cup all the way around this. And we'll see in construction, maybe even on this subtle grade change, even pop a pin on that one, but keep it playable. So that we're trying to, you can see the playability put into this, the interest, trying to create interesting strategic golf holes, take away the problems that people have on the golf course right now. Keep what's really good and really improve upon it. Kind of use the existing golf course, play off the best parts of the golf course, and give you something that's fun and very enjoyable and much. I think aesthetically, this golf course, the character of this golf course can be raised significantly. There's no reason why. We're not as crazy about the wee little pot bunkers here. I think bunkers that are a little larger than that, I think will serve you much better. So I think it's your turn now, is it not? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, sure. Yeah, don't go too far on. They're going to have questions, and you're going to be the one answering these. All right, Allison, if you could just follow along with, I'm going to do the renovation highlights. Just sort of sum things up here. So let me read through here. Redesign the greens and surrounding greenside bunkers with enhanced playability that will be achieved through larger greens, concave bowl greens, not our current convex mounted greens that repel balls. How exciting is that? I'm excited. And speaking of golf courses and greens, I went and played Club Pelican Bay, and I didn't know Ron at the time. And I found myself after every hole leaving the green, I'd walk to the cart, and I'd turn around and go, man, that was fun. Wouldn't you love to leave a green at Forest Lawn going, that was fun? So the main objective with greens is to shape the greens that hold shots and not propel a good shot off the green. The new green surfaces will allow us to consistently maintain an appropriate level of green speed throughout the year. So all bunkers will be redesigned with belly bunkers. What in the heck are belly bunkers? So that's like a swimming pool, actually darn near a concrete swimming pool, am I right? Underneath the sand. And it's a capillary type of concrete that allows the moisture or the water to go through the sand and through the concrete and drain out into the ponds. Okay, it keeps the native soil down, it keeps the rocks from coming up, and it keeps the shape of the greens much longer and a more consistent playing surface through the bunkers. All right. Relocate and or remove some bunkers that are especially problematic and adversely affect playability. So we don't have any of those, do we? Like fairway bunkers on holes, I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4. No, but we do. I don't have those listed, but 13 and 16. So the ladies' favorite bunker off the tee on 13. My favorite bunkers on 16. And everyone's favorite bunker, the last bunker on the golf course on 18 at the 150 marker. Out of the way, move to the side. We still need something up there to aim at and to give depth perception. The first 2 bunkers off the tee, those still need to be there, but moved further back, not right in the center of the fairway. So some bunkers will be more strategically placed to keep a ball in play to help with playability and pace of play. So you've seen many bunkers that Ron put up here along lake edges, along the woods edges. You saw on 13 down the right side of the rough to keep balls from propelling into the woods. We need to keep you out of the woods. So that'll help us pace of play if we're not looking for our balls in the woods. Green speed, green side bunkers will be strategically designed to locate to enhance playability. So green side, my favorite is 17, the bunker in the front of the green. Why do we have bunkers in the front of greens? The new grass, the barrier grass that we would have will not be pass pound. Pass pound is very sticky. When you hit short of the green, it sticks. The new grass will allow the ball to release up on the green for playability. How about that? And we have an amen. All right. Just like in church, right? All right. So I already touched on that. The plan is to regrass with pass pound on all the tees, fairways, and rough. We love the pass pound everywhere except for around the greens where it sticks and on the greens. This is an opportunity that many courses in Southwest Florida have taken. 14 that I know of, that I took a survey of, that took pass pound off their golf course greens and converted to Tiff Eagle. There's something going with it. Why did the 2 out of the 14 not do it? One of them's on Sanibel. That's a water quality problem. So they need that the pass pound because of the salt. We do not have to have pass pound on our greens. And we need larger greens that hold the ball and has a more true putting surface. Let me catch my breath. Okay, like Ron said, we're going to eliminate all the wood bulkheads and we're going to replace bulkheads with the stacked stone, the cap rock. So Allison had that picture up there. It was beautiful. A lot of the clubs are doing it. Palmyra just did all their bulkheads this last summer. That's where we got one of those pictures. The view from the 18th, at the 18th hole, from the Eagle's Nest to the 18th green is going to be out of this world beautiful. Putting up that cap rock wall, can you imagine that? With that extra little landing area, a huge green. It's going to enhance everything around the Eagle's Nest and on the golf course. A great finishing hole. I like moving the cart path on number 7 away from the homes. We always feel like you get out of your cart and you feel like I'm looking in someone's living room there, right in the swimming pools. So getting it to the other side and moving the green to the left. The shorter hitters will enjoy level areas in the fairways closer to the cart path for the Glen tees. more of a land bridge along the right side of the lake bank on the 14th hole, like Ron showed up here, with hoping for pace of playability and pace of play. The 18th green will have a shorter carry over the water, right and short of the green. All the teeing grounds will including the driving range, will be laser leveled and realigned. The grass wall, everyone's favorite grass wall on the 6th hole, on the Coquina, will be gone forever. You can just check that box right there on your slip. And if you check that you agree, if you go ahead and agree to that you like the presentation, you're going to vote yes, you can keep the pen we gave you at the door. One of my pet peeves, what bothers me the most about the current golf course, so we built it 15 years ago. Every drain on the golf course looks to have sunk. Well, Tom does a great job maintaining the golf course, but we've actually raised the fairways. So every drain on the golf course needs to be raised. We need to keep the elevation of the golf course because we drain great. We can take a couple inches of rain, play the next day, no problem. So every drain on the golf course needs to be raised up. Every sprinkler head, there's about, I think, 1,400 sprinkler heads need to be replaced on the golf course. And what's really cool about it, they now have stealth sprinkler heads that we can put around the green. You'll no longer have to have the local rule. Any sprinkler head within 2 club lengths of the green that I'm within 2 club lengths of is a free drop. You won't see the sprinkler head. There will be a grass plug on top of it. Beautiful. So we'll also do preliminary electrical work that can be done for any PA system or a clock at the first tee. So we'll get our electrical needs all in line over there. So some of the things, we have a whole master plan that Ron's put together for us. Ron, this is where you close your eyes. We've actually taken several items and put on an add alternate list. So, you know, money's not cheap. So we're not, and Mr. Gorski is going to talk about that in a minute. So get ready, Mr. Gorski, get ready to get up here. So, yeah, there's a budget and we need a certain amount in the contingency fund. And if the golf course is going along financially great, as I'd hope and expect, and the economy holds still with petroleum affects everything on a golf course, from fertilizer to PVC pipe to the sprinkler heads. It all dictates the price there. So we have some add alternates that we want to hold on to, we want to do, but the board needs to approve it if we're in a good financial position. So things like the short game practice area, we'd like to double it in size and allow you to practice a longer pitch shot. The option to add a tall clock between the first tee and the driving range. Some trees could be cleared between there, the driving range and the first tee, to enhance the beauty of that area. Artificial turf can be added to the back of the driving range. That could give us about 30 or 35 spots and a lot of people back there practicing late in the afternoon. That would be nice. The first tee could be moved to the right a little bit. We don't have to move a whole lot of tees, but that one might need to move just a little bit. It would be a better angle. The cart path on the tee on the 8th hole will be moved to on the right side of the tees if things are going well. An alternate green could be added at number 9 for the shorter hitters to play on the other side of the pond. A portion of the woods can be cleared on the north side of the 16th hole that Ron went over and move the cart path to widen the landing area. So things like that, but we need to see where we're at financially. And speaking of financially, Mr. Gorski, if you want to make your way up here, or did you for the hills? Thank you.
What happens when you get old? All right.
So how are we going to pay for this, Mr. Gorski?
Well,
We're gonna pass the plates here in church.
Yeah, we're gonna need more than that. So the whole project, right now, the way we'll look at it is $8.3 million. Now, that $8.3 million includes a 10% contingency, which is approximately $750,000. Why do we have that contingency? Well, everybody knows what's happened in the last 12 months with inflation. Actually, our reserve balance that we're able to use for the golf course has gone up 8%, just because inflation's gone up 8%. We don't know. These numbers are all today numbers. We don't know what the number is going to be 12 months from now when we start work, or 15 to 16 months from we start work. So we have a 10% contingency based on doing the project as it is today. And as Tim said, that's why we're holding back some of these alternates, some of these things we could include, because we don't know what it's going to be. We need to get to a point where we've got a golf course done, we've got a plan, we've done everything, we've delivered everything. And some of those alternates could be included if the money does free up and we see lower inflation, we don't see the pricing. We've priced the project out based on today's dollars. That's $7.5 million. But again, I said, we need that $700,000 to cover ourselves and make sure we're in good shape. How are we going to pay for it? Well, I've been singing the dance and everybody's been asking me the questions when it comes to the treasurer's report. Do we have reserves? Well, right now, currently available, we have $4.7 million available in reserves to pay for the course. Now, that number could be more next year because right now that's today's dollars. I don't know what the reserve balance that could be associated with the golf course will be next year when we get the Drew Isaacson study. That could be a couple $100,000 more. Then we have board restricted funds of $800,000 that we're going to apply to the golf course. That's all your money. Okay. That's money that's been set aside from the PPP money that we received from the federal government a year ago, along with the overages that we've had, the outstanding performance we've done in Forest Glen over the last couple of years financially. So it's all been set aside in board restricted funds. So there's $800,000 that'll be applied through board restricted funds. Everybody has probably seen the new member amenity capital contribution. Right now, we get about 40 new members buying in every year. The board chose to apply a $3,500 charge starting on February 1st in every closing. So we're right now estimating that we'll have another $420,000 available from those 40 units times 100 times 3 years, or 120 units that will be sold at $3,500 that we can apply to the course. Well, that gets us to a certain number. It doesn't get the final answer. The final answer is, what are we going to have to pay from an assessment point of view if we decide to do this in the vote? And that comes out to roughly $3,000 or $375 a quarter over 8 quarters to pay for the course and get it done. So this is something that the Finance Committee came up with. I mean, we're working on this with the Finance Committee and the Finance Committee's input over the last, since we started this project and started this, looking at the whole program about 12 months ago. And been reviewed by the Finance Committee. They're on board with it. And we think this is the right way to go forward with it. No financing, no debt. We have no debt. So we're not paying any debt off. We want to keep it clean, keep our balance sheet clean from debt. And this gets us there in 2 years, paid off when the course is done and ready to go. And then if something else comes down the pike, fine. We've got the availability to go off and do something else, but 2-year plan. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gorski. We're going to, thank you. We're going to open this up to questions. Ed, you want to run this microphone around or Carl, or who's got it in him? Ed, you know.
Oh, sure. Way over. I'm going to start over here. Where do we play once that work starts?
Go ahead and tell him, Ed. Ed's working on it. So the work starts in April, late April, and it finish in, depending on weather and hurricanes and such, maybe as early as mid-October and hopefully no later than mid-November. So in between that, all the area clubs, Ed has great relationships with them. We're going to strike deals with them the way they've been striking deals with us for the last 15 years. We'll get you taken care of. We'll get you on the golf course.
Yes, we've been working the last 2 years on that, helping other courses out, knowing that we're going to be in this position. So I feel confident we'll have not only additional reciprocal golf courses, but some additional times and availability.
Well, how long will the new greens, what will the length before those have to be replaced again?
Greens need to be replaced every 13 to 15 years. It's an industry standard in Southwest Florida.
Many of us feel that the course is not rated properly now, and I know that we've called people out a couple of times to change it. For example, the white tees are 118. When you start talking about making all these changes here, I guess this is a tough question, but do you think we'll be able to at least keep the rating at 118 or increase it a little bit?
So the golf course will need to be re-rated after it's completed. And Ed, I can do a quick seminar on ratings, but it's on forced carries, it's on green speed, it's on how large greens are, how long the golf course is, the par of the golf course. Mr. Cabell could probably talk about for 10 minutes. Ed, do you have anything to add there? So it will be re-rated as high as it is today.
Who knows? My question is, Tom presented the numbers there. There was $3,000 for the entire project. However, and that leads you, I mean, it suggests possibly that if we don't do this and just put the pass palum in, that there is no cost. And yet I'm thinking that we have to replace the sprinkler heads, we have to do the bulkheads. So it's not a case, explain to me, is it a case of what would it be with not doing the course, still going to cost us? So what's going to be the difference between the 3,000 and what we might have to pay anyway? You understand what I'm saying? Fix the bulkhead, so they do all the things that are going to need to be done.
So most of the things like replacement of all the assets are in our reserves. One thing that we didn't mention is that when we built the golf course in 2008, there was a product out that was called methyl bromide that needs to be used to kill sterilize the soil prior to planting. That's no longer available. Back then, it cost us $375,000 to do 60 acres. Today, methyl bromide is not available. We have to use another product called Basamid. Basamid costs well over $1 million to do 60 acres. You have to sterilize the soil. So how does this tie into your question? That is not an asset. It's a procedure for getting the grass on the ground. So would it cost us more? Yes. How much more? Well, right there's $750,000 just to sterilize. But then there's all the other things like bulkheads they're reserved for. But we're not replacing it with wood. We'd be replacing it with caprock. Caprock is more expensive. There's shipping, there's fuel and transport charges on it. So that's why we're eliminating some bulkheads, but we're concentrating on the beautifications like on 13 and 14 and 18. And so
I guess where I'm going is it's going to cost us $3,000 for a Cadillac. Right. And we would probably be going to end up being charged $2,000 for something that is just okay. We're going to have to pay something if we don't do this.
We don't have a second plan. I appreciate what you're trying to get at, but we don't have a second plan at this point. We have a great master plan by a great architect that we think is the best for you for the next 15 years.
I think
Can this be
everybody.
directed towards someone else?
No. This is directed toward everyone that gave a presentation. I think it was very well done and I accepted everything they said. My question is, are they going to clean up 9 and 18 with all those weeds that someone planted here a few years back?
It is definitely a subject that is discussed often at the board level. We need to find out what we want on these banks. Do you like bare dirt and rocks better than what you call weeds? It's alligator flag. It did not look good, and it never does look good in October and November. Right now, things are starting to green up a little bit. The dead is falling off of it. We can trim it up when the water level drops. We can get in there and make it look better. So it's a very controversial subject, and it's something that is discussed often, and there's not a lot of options, unfortunately. It's like A or B, dirt and rocks or the weeds.
I have a question about the tees. Okay, the men can go from the black to the gold, to the hybrid, to the forest, to the white, to the aqua. With a distance of maybe 300 yards total, correct? The ladies can go from the white, the aqua, the red, to the glen. Between the red and the glen is 1,200 yards. Which some of us are getting a little older. And 1,200 yards is a whole lot compared to 300 yards. So when you're talking about the glen, are you still talking that way up 1,200 yards? Or is there a possibility of something in between?
Well, there's not a lot of, after a new forward tee and a couple holes in the Glen tees are put in, there's not a lot of room in between there. And it is very common for the most forward tees, in this case, the Glen tees, to be well short. These are proving to be very popular golf courses. There's just this last week, I was at a really great old place in the mountains of North Carolina called Highlands Country Club, where Bobby Jones used to hang out, and he hit the first tee shot in 1928 and all this stuff. And they have a very high quality membership, very tasteful place. There is a course there that's only 3,900 yards. We added those in the last couple of years working with the pro. So they don't let the yardage span between them be too much of a concern. It's a matter of club head speed. And it's not a matter of handicap or even whether you're a man or a woman, it's club head speed. And so the difference needs to be, for those with a slower club head speed, the difference between the teeing grounds needs to be greater. And that's what's going on in the industry. Okay. Yeah. No, well, we're getting way forward with the Glen.
300 yards for me over the course means a lot, not 1,200.
Yeah, and the way the tees are placed hole by hole on the plan. Yeah, and they're well forward now on the plan. Yeah. So I wish we could accommodate every aspect of that, but they're well into the fairways now. And they're proving to be popular.
Hi, Ron. My
Yes.
question is, what would be the average size of the new greens? And will there be more than 3 positions for the pin? And when you say average size, please don't give me square feet. Tell me yards of what the size of these greens will be, please.
Okay, well, the shapes of the greens are going to determine that. Your 14th green is probably, let's call it like 25 yards deep. Then in other greens, if you go tip to tip on 16 that you saw, that's going to be 40 yards diagonally end to end. So comparative size, some of your greens are going to double out there. Now for cupping areas, we strive to have cupping areas in every portion of the green. Obviously, undulation takes that out, but there will be way more than three cupping areas on a green. Way more. We're talking 20, 21, 22 cupping areas. And a cupping area is defined pretty much as a 4-foot radius around the golf hole, or 8-foot circle around the golf hole and around the cup. So we're talking many, many cupping areas. Playing interest will go through the roof, and your turf conditions will improve tremendously around each cup. Yes.
This is for Tim. How is the trail fee going to be calculated?
I knew that was going to be asked. So that's definitely going to need to be addressed when we put together the 2024 budget. And that process starts in June for me. We've talked about it a little bit at a couple of committee levels and at the board level. It could be, and I don't want to say it's going to be, maybe we charge a quarter of the trail fee because the golf course closes in April. So that covers that quarter. And then maybe once we open, we just charge everyone that has a private cart as they play. But I need to do the spreadsheet on that, see how that affects the program. But it's something that's been thought about. We just need to work through it with the entire budget. It can get a little complicated. Did that answer? We've been thinking about it. A third, a quarter, whatever.
Hey, Tim. Sorry to do this to you. I want to circle back to Rich Cabral's question for a second, maybe twist it around a little bit. Asking the question a different way. So playing devil's advocate for a second. Let's assume for argument's sake that the $3,000 assessment that's been proposed, let's say for argument's sake that gets voted down. Now, certainly my understanding is the bulkheads need to be replaced because there's a safety issue. And no pun intended, the rocks look a hell of a lot better than what we have. I understand that the board's hands are a bit tied when it comes to assessments, because I know that anything over, I think the number might have been 425,000 has to be put to a vote, I believe. So my question is, again, assuming for argument's sake that the $3,000 gets voted down by the membership, it seems like we're between a rock and a hard place. So I'm trying to understand if that were to occur, realistically, what can the board or what, I know you said earlier, we don't have a plan B, but shorty, the wheels are turning where somebody's, I hopefully thinking about if it does get voted down, what can we do?
Right. And I appreciate that question. And it's a great one. So when you arrived, you got that piece of paper and we're polling you. If we feel the poll is going the wrong way for us, then we need to start switching gears. We're going to have another one of these meetings here in a month. And between this meeting today and in the third week in February, we're going to have several small group meetings that you're going to be, anyone that wants to come can come to be invited to come up to the community center. Let's talk about it. That's why on this piece of paper, you put the things that are bothering you or the questions you have. Let us get in touch with you. Let's invite you in. But this polling is very important to us. So when you leave today, please, one per household that helps us figure out what you're feeling about things. Let's please drop that off with our wonderful ladies that volunteered when you arrived. And we'll see how we work through that and see what the feeling is. And if we don't have that fuzzy feeling, we really need to start looking at a plan B. But we're really concentrating on the best product for the membership for the next 15 years at this point.
Just a quick question. I'm not a mathematician, but looking at the numbers, I thought I read that it was $3,000 over 3 years. 2 years. Okay, I read the number wrong from back here. No, it says it's okay.
So assessment is
I mixed up the two lines, so I'm good.
$3,000 and it's $375 per quarter for 8 quarters.
That's 2 years. Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Correct. 2 years, 8 quarters.
My question is different tact here at all. And I'm not sure how to really phrase the question, but I'm a high handicapper, 24 or whatever.
Can't hear you.
I'm a high handicapper, okay? So my question to Ron is, in terms of playability, can you address the improvement in the playability of the course for high handicappers versus low handicappers? And I'm not sure how to measure playability, but maybe you can address that as well.
No, that's a right thing to say, that it's hard to measure playability, but you can see we've moved bunkers, nuisance bunkers that get in the way of a lot of people, and we've moved them out to the side, but kept them there. The recovery from them is generally easier. Depending on the purpose of a bunker, it's harder or easier to recover from. The bunkers we have would be flat bottom bunkers where the near the edge of the sand would flash up a bit, so a ball hitting the grass bank would roll to the bottom of the bunker. So you're generally hitting off a level lie out of the bunkers. Sometimes we'll take a fairway bunker and pitch it a little bit to enable you to get the club under the ball. But the approaches to greens are generally wide open, except maybe 7, where there's just a narrow opening, but there's still an opening there. The playability is going to increase by some more forward tees placed there. The width of some of the fairways are more appropriate to the shot, so that aids playability. I think the course rating could drop a couple of points. Generally, they stay about the same because, well, your greens are pretty wild. So usually you go from boring greens to a little more interesting greens that are still very, reasonable. So your course is, according to this plan, is more playable in terms of width, bunker placement, bunker character, bunker depth, and that kind of thing. Yeah, I hope that helps you with that.
I have a question. I like all the redos of the fairways and the whole course. The one issue I've had all along, having played Tiff Eagle courses around here, to me, they've been flat, boring, and not well taken care of. They don't heal well. You see where the last dozen holes used to be. So it's not as aesthetically pleasing as our greens.
Yeah, well, Paspalum is a rugged grass, that's for sure, and it holds a green color. The playing surface is much better with Tiff Eagle, and with the new greens, you're going to be able to spread the cupping areas out and give a lot of good recovery time for each area. So that's going to improve it. I can't speak to your experience, but the only good way to go with this is the Tiff Eagle, and with the expanded size. Coming back many days later to the same cupping area is going to help that. Maybe there was some maintenance, and maybe the cups weren't placed properly, whatever. So maybe they had shade problems. I don't know the circumstances.
Tom, would you please go out and make sure my little ladies are out there collecting? I'm seeing a few people leave. I want to make sure we get those polling sheets. Okay. Sorry. And by the way, to piggyback on what Ron was saying, larger greens, more cupping areas, you're going to not be around the hole. You're not going to see it heal. And Tom knows how to grow this grass. I've got a real quick story for you. Years ago, before I ever knew Tom, did I ever want to know Tom? Yeah. He's a great guy. That dude can grow some grass, right? He really can. He really can. I wish he was here to hear that. But I played in the Palmyra Open years ago, and I missed a 3-foot putt. And I looked at my partner and I said, "This is the last time you'll see me ever putt with a conventional putter again." He drew it. The superintendent at the time didn't know him. It was Tom. had a berry putter for 15 years until the USGA outlawed it. So again, I'm a bad putter. Come to find out, Tom's my superintendent that drove me to the berry putter. But that guy can grow grass and he knows Tiff Eagle greens. He had the best Tiff Eagle greens 20 years ago before I ever knew him.
My question concerns the payment of the $3,000 assessment. We have forever had a finance committee that did not want to borrow any money to pay for these projects. Has any consideration been given to think about financing this through a bank loan for 5 or 6 years rather than hitting the members with a $3,000 assessment or $375 per quarter for 8 quarters? And if not, why not?
Initially, we didn't know what the number was going to be to start off with. So if we were looking at a bigger number, that would certainly be on the table. One of the big things that has changed the whole thought process is the cost of interest. You could have borrowed the money, say 12 months ago, for 3%. Today, we're looking at 6, 7%, who knows, 8%. Based on what we're looking to borrow, do we really want to pay for this thing twice by financing it over 6, 7 years? Doesn't make a lot of sense in the eyes of the members of the finance committee, in my eyes. Why pay for it over 6 or 7 years? It also cuts off and complicates any matters of things that are coming out of the strategic planning committee. And people that have been involved with strategic planning know that they've got some big ideas and big plans. Do we want to piggyback another loan on something that we most likely would have to borrow money on, coming out of strategic planning onto one we've already got? So, and then we're double dipping. So the thought process was from the board, let's separate what's going on with the strategic planning from the golf course and what's going on from the facilities point of view from the golf course. Get that taken care of, get the community on board, let the community understand it. And then when we have to take on what's coming out of strategic planning and come back to the membership and say, hey, here's what the ideas are, here's what folks would like to do, here's what they're thinking about, and get feedback, and then have a financing plan for that. So that's the thought process that was moved on. And we did have this originally planned out so we could do it. We were looking to do it over 10 months, 10 quarters, I should say. That isn't feasible because we don't have enough, we couldn't borrow enough money from our reserves to finance ourselves for that period of time. That's where we shortened the process and shortened the timeline down from 10 quarters to 8 quarters to make it so that we can get it over and done with. We don't have to borrow from ourselves, or if we had to borrow from ourselves, it wouldn't be a whole lot of money, and we could afford to pay for it by borrowing out of our reserves as long as it gets paid back within a 12-month period. So that was the decision that was made, and I think it's pretty sound decision making. I'm not a big fan of debt. We haven't had any debt. I mean, say that's a shortcoming of mine, that's fine and dandy, but that's the way it is. Okay.
Now, if he says that's the way it is, then that's the way it is.
That's my opinion.
He did good.
Okay, the assessment goes through like this. We talked about major changes to 6 holes, and obviously we'll be receding to Tiff Eagle on the other remaining greens. Can we expect other changes around each one of those green complexes?
Yeah, I mean, the master plan covers all 18 holes in the range area and the putting green area, and that. For the sake of not boring people with too many details, we chose the most representative 6 golf holes here. These principles apply to all the others. Yes, the changes are proposed for the other golf holes like this. Some more so, some a little more subtle, some a little more different. But it's a full 18-hole plan. Yes.
Yeah. And that plan is available online. You might have to blow it up a little bit, but no, there is not one green or green complex that is familiar or would be familiar. once Ron's done with it. It's exciting.
Yes, thank you. I've been in the community a few years now, and I really think we got a great community. Wonderful people, very friendly, good reputation. Golf is costing more everywhere. Private courses are getting assessed, whatnot, and where we are not. We are very well run financially, no debt, as you have mentioned. But we have some goofy holes. We have some real goofy holes. And really, it seems to me to be a wise investment. You can only do it now when you're regrassing, to make this major consideration. And I think in the long run, if you're comparing to golf and other courses in Southern Florida and other communities, private, Chelsea, whatever, it's a very minor investment when it comes down to it. Now, I know everybody's not in the same financial playing field, but it is well spread out over 8 months. And so if we can get rid of the goofiness of some of the holes we have, I think it's a wise investment from my point of view.
You know, that's amazing, because the only thing goofy about Ron is just Ron.
Tim, Dave Thompson. I want to thank you for an effective presentation. I've heard a lot of things that I like. I've got a reservation, and I think it can be satisfied if someone could just kind of reassure me on a couple of things. I played the Rookery this past summer and with Tiff Eagle. And at that point, Tiff Eagles to me sounded great. It was, those greens had from 10 to 15 unhealed cup marks at each location. Now that sounds extreme. That's like 30 to 45 cup marks on a green. I asked at the pro shop, and they said, well, there'd been a lot of rain and stuff like that. So I don't know. I know we years ago, past Palom was the grass. Now Tiff Eagle is the grass. I'd kind of like to be reassured some way that we're not going to look up and find that it doesn't heal itself. We've heard that it doesn't heal itself very well. And that we're going to be looking in a few years saying, that's not the grass anymore. We need to change and go to something else. So I'm open. I'm the 3,000. Obviously, I'd rather spend it on myself, but I can live with that. But I appreciate all the work you've done to get to this point. But could you tell me something about Tiff Eagle that would kind of put my concern at rest?
Yeah. Actually, I know some of the courses that you're playing with the Tiff Eagle, and some of the cultural practices that some of the superintendents lack, where Tom excels at it. I mean, we verticut greens all the time. We want a smooth playing surface. We want as little grain as possible. So what's grain? It's the grass wants to lean over and follow the setting sun, basically. When you look at a Tiff Eagle cup and you look down, and if you see an edge that's a little more rough than the other, that is which way the grain is running. And if the greens are very grainy, when they go to move that cup, that plug, then that's where they're having those problems. When they're when the greens are too spongy, too soft, too grainy, then you get the cups that have a hard time being healed. Tom, I know, does not do that. And there's an art to putting the plug back in. You have to put the cup with the grain running the right way. So if you put the grain going the wrong way, it's going to go that way, but the grain wants to go that way. It's going to take 3 weeks for that grain to shift over. So there's a certain way to do all these things. And not every superintendent is as good as Tom at growing grass. Yep.
On the $3,000, I said I'd really spend on myself. I really think you spend on
Very good save. I'll give you points on that one.
Hi, my question is, our special assessment for $3,000 for 8 quarters, has that been locked in? Is there a ceiling on that? Or once we get into this project, I mean, 10% overrun to me seems like it's not enough in this day and age. But mean, not that we get down the road and all of a sudden it comes to be $5,000 a door. I'm just wondering if there's, when do we start locking contracts in, pricing? Where did this 3,000 come from?
Yeah, so I've been working hard with the contractors and really we're on the calendar of the best contractor in the area, Glaze Golf. And I've had several meetings with him. I've played golf with him several times. The guy has worked for every great architect here in the Southwest Florida area. I meet with him and talk with him about pricing. I just did last week. We're going to have a couple of sessions this summer to see where the economy's taking us. He told me day one, 10%. It works really good for him. I control the contingency. That's my job. If I'm seeing overruns, then I need to put the brakes on and make things work some way, somehow. I got 30 years of doing these projects, clubhouses, Eagles nests, restaurants to golf courses. This is like my, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth golf course. It's a little bit of a dance once you get into it. And we do need the help. The economy needs to be going our way. And I got to be on top of it. I appreciate what you're saying, but the contractor feels good with 10% with this experience.
One of the issues that I've continually hear about from people I run into has to do with the crowning of the fairways and the slope. And as an example, on hole number 2, you can hit a drive pretty well straight down the fairway, and many a times you end up in the wooded areas. That sloping of the fairways happens on a lot of the holes. If we could fix that, it would help the high handicapper and it would speed play. You should be able to land the ball in the fairway and not end up in the rough or something that's going to cost you a stroke.
Yeah.
I hope that's being addressed in this change.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. And that second fairway is being planned to be regraded to contain those shots. The way balls get chucked off the right front of number 1 green, that's going to be fixed. All those kinds of things without making the course boring and flat. We're taking that unplayable aspect out of it. Yeah. It's when we've been around the course numerous times. We've tried to address every angle on the golf course, maintenance, design, aesthetics, everything, playability, et cetera. Yeah.
My question is, does that paspalum grass that's on the greens, does that have any use? Can it be used in connection with maybe finishing off some of the cratered areas with that paspalum grass?
You're going to want to get rid of all the grass, the existing grass, and just start over.
No, I'm talking about improvements, bringing it down to the low water marks, because when that water is low, it looks like a moon crater.
Yeah, that's not one of the treatments we thought about, if I understand the question correctly.
It's definitely a possibility to look at places where it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a thought, because it would really improve the beauty of the ponds.
And that's good. We should keep that in mind. And we're not in the detailed design yet, and that'll be part of it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. They either don't like it or they're happy.
I missed one over
here. Did you want to?
I have a question for Ron. I was just curious, as you construct this and grading this, now you kill all the grass. What does happen with the, can you use that soil, or do you have to bring more soil in, or what do you do?
Yeah, you cut about that deep, a little over half an inch or so. And we usually find bury pits for them and find places where if grade needs to come up, we can dig up the good soil and put that down. I know you got a rock issue, but we have to be very careful with it. It's either hauled off or we find a place to get rid of it.
I was just curious though, whether you had enough soil to work with to where you're doing this regrading?
Yeah, we have to find, when you have this cap rock type of soil that you've got here,
Yeah,
the fill areas have to be very broad.
okay, thank you. No, I appreciate
Yeah,
the
we can't-
presentation,
no quick little mesas out there.
but I just like to say, I'm going through this presentation, I'm just surprised that you can get this all done for that extra $3,000. I think it's a bargain.
It's good to hear.
So, sorry, I have a twofold question.
Yep.
First one is just for sake of clarity, the poll that we're filling is only for the presentation that we have, does not include the ad hoc items.
It's any, first of all, are you in agreement with this presentation? So it's either yes or
What
no.
I'm asking for is, you said there were a number of items after that could potentially be done if money is still there or exists.
Yeah. So it would include those.
It would include those. So there's not a priority given to those different items that are on, I call that an ad hoc list or whatever. And can we get a vote in regards to the different items that are on there?
At this time, there is no priority list with the ad alternates.
So it would be included if money exists in regards to item 1, 2, 3.
It would if the board allows me to do it. If I come to the board and I say, okay, we're looking good financially, this is what I'm sure the list will be talked about, one at the board level and two, the committee level on prioritizing.
Okay.
And I will be going to the board during the project and say, okay, this is where we're at. It's do or die time. We either need to do it now or we're going to lose it and we need to move on. And the board needs to approve me to spend those funds.
So
I have to prove it to them that I have the money.
So if we're not in agreement with one of those items, we're saying no here, even though we. Is that what?
Out of the list of 8 or 10?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hi, Tim. If this passes, do we have the option to pay the $3,000 in one payment, pay it up front?
You can always send us money. We're not going to turn it away.
But you won't.
Are we going to give you a discount for paying it early? In my opinion, it'll just run as a credit on your account. But at this point, there has not been any discussion on a discount for paying it up front. That's the only reason you'd want to pay it up front, right? Or you just want to get rid of it. Send us your money. We'll just
Hey, Tim, John Pappas here. Two questions. Number one, are there other plans for Forest Glen that we'll be hit with later that are not related to the golf course, such as the kitchen or the building or parking lots or whatever that we should be taking into consideration?
Strategic Planning Committee is always looking at something. Will you ever get hit with something else? I will probably say absolutely, probably.
Yeah, I just meant in the immediate future.
Yes. In the next year, I doubt it. In the next 2 to 3 years, don't know.
Okay,
In 5 to 10 years, possibly.
all right. And then the other one was regarding people that come from outside of the club. Are their rates going to be going up for playing golf here? We do all this?
We do we do surveys to make sure we're very competitive. And when we're in great shape, we need to be extra competitive. And Ed does a great job of making sure that all of our non-members that want to play our great golf course and use our great facilities, when you're not using them, they pay a premium. Ed is great at doing that.
Okay, thanks.
Two questions for Ron on the golf course. How deep is the transitional grass between the fairway and the green? The width.
Or the width.
Yeah,
How far out from the green will it extend?
right.
It's Well, we worked on this with Tom. We don't have a set dimension yet, but it goes out a good 50 yards where you need the approach. And
That-
also the short, where you need that kind of run up, like little par threes and stuff. It won't be anything like that. The 17th, we need one because of the bump and run shot into the green. And then
So
the
a
chipping
typical-
areas
a
around
typical
it.
par four, I mean, how,
Oh, you'll have like 40 yards of.
oh, that much?
Yeah, that's what, yeah. Now, we don't have the exact dimension. What I mentioned before, we haven't gotten to the detailed design yet. We have to establish that.
And what type of grass that will be, is that
Well,
been
it's-
decided?
We're looking at different kinds. We've been discussing that. There's Bimini is a really good grass. There's Tiff Grand, which might not be as good, but there's going to be an experiment. There's an experiment going on right now out there.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
One-
both grasses. The Bimini was just recently sodded at the practice putting green.
Right.
And the Tiff Grand has been out at the chipping green around the bunker and on the collar there for over a year.
Right.
So we're constantly looking at that. And, when you talk about the barrier grass, every hole probably is a different,
Yeah.
it's a different feeling.
On the shot.
Like we would never put any, let's say past Palom on the green side, in my opinion, on 9 and 18 and 14, because they're islands. There's no reason to have three different types of grass.
Contamination.
And we're trying to reduce the contamination and allow playability, the ball to run up through there on chipping.
Right. Okay, one more question about the bunkers.
Yes,
Is my understanding all the bunkers will be redone?
yes.
Can you comment on the new bunkers vis-a-vis the way our bunkers are now? I mean, have you noticed that a number of our bunkers are poorly constructed, for lack of a better description, where the balls do not hit the bunkers and roll down into the bunker. So you wind up with shots where you're standing out of the bunker and you're
Right.
getting down. I mean,
So-
is that going to be?
Yeah, give you a quick description before. We work hard to make sure the bunkers are very flat, and on the edges where the sand rolls up a bit to various heights into the grass face above the sand. We want to make sure that that's constructed in such a way the ball hits and rolls down to the flat.
Right.
If anyone ever gets by Club Pelican Bay or the hole in the wall, you'll see those kinds of bunker
Mhm.
constructions.
Right.
Whether it's more of a grass faced bunker or more of a bunker with capes and bays, grassy fingers and that kind of thing, the ball is still encouraged to get down to the bottom.
So the existing bunkers that we have now, the ones where that's a problem, do you think, is that a design issue or a construction issue?
That was, well, maybe the designer wasn't paying enough attention to construction. I don't, but that's probably a design thing without incriminating people too
Yeah.
much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, this,
What time is dinner? That was my question. No, good.
I think we had,
Good.
did we have one?
Hey, you missed Billy.
I just have one quick question, and that is, what's the purpose of the coquina in front of the seventh hole?
In front of the, to reduce the amount of turf grass you're maintaining there.
Chemicals, fertilizer, watering, and then it creates a separation from our past Palom tees to
Okay.
our
Yes.
Tiff Eagle.
Okay.
Creates a separation from our past Palom to our Tiff Eagle areas, and it reduces the cost to water, fertilize, chemicals. So we'd rather have coquina than grass in areas that are not playable.
Okay. And one more question. If I say yes on this, do you look at the rest of the comments I put down?
Oh, yes.
Or if I say yes?
I need you to vote yes too.
Huh?
I need you to vote yes also, not just say yes, but vote yes when we do it in March.
Yeah. But you look at the questions I put on here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anyone? Thank you all for sticking it out to the end. All right. Thank you and for being here. Mr. Sailing, thank you. Tom and Ed. Ed's on overtime. Allison, thank you. And I wish Tom was here to hear all the applause when I talked about him earlier. You can ask all it on. I did not. I did not. Yeah, right.